What if I told you marketing your business doesn't have to be a chore and could actually be an advantage within your back pocket if you knew how to do it right? We'll get back to that notion in just a moment, but first, I wanted to provide you some data for all of us to consider. A 2024 global Harvard Business Review study found that 96% of American entrepreneurs believe that creative ideas are an essential component to their overall business growth. Meanwhile, a 2025 Market Week survey published in August found that 80% of creative-minded entrepreneurs believe creative marketing is an essential component to a campaign's overall effectiveness. This is all important food for thought for my friend Dennis Meador. He is a legal marketing innovator and strategist with over 30 years of experience helping professional business owners become authorities on their subjects. His expertise lies in helping business owners better position themselves in their respective marketplace so that they can land their ideal client. Over the last 2 decades, he's worked primarily with white-collar professionals, primarily in the legal field, guiding them on how to communicate effectively, build authority, and achieve clarity all at the same time. In 2024, he launched the Legal Podcast Network, a platform designed to make podcasting strategic, accessible, and genuinely useful for legal professionals to clearly differentiate themselves within their marketing efforts, and for those legal professionals who genuinely want to educate and communicate to their audiences on a more human level. And he joined me this week to tell me more all about his career in marketing, how he's helping legal professionals flourish, and how he wants to help you do the same. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. We started our conversation by diving into how legal professionals can become better and more effective marketers to land their ideal client.
So I would say, first of all, I think that any profession needs to recognize that just as they are specialized and good at what they do, there are people that can help them with this sort of thing. And so, them being better marketers is probably not as important because they're going to cap off with the available time, the available back, unless they just want to, unless they love it and they want to spend 20, 30 hours a week as a side passion project to get good at marketing. I say the best way to have better marketing as a lawyer or any professional is to find somebody or a company or a team or whatever that you respect their skill set and partner up with them. No different than if you're a lawyer, somebody has a legal issue, you would hope that somebody respects your skill set. Or if you're a real estate agent, you would hope that somebody respects your skill set. So I think the number one key to becoming an effective marketer, if you are in another profession, is to find a trusted, just like you would a trusty accountant, just like you would a trusty banker, just like you would a trusty lawyer, find a trusty marketer. That would actually be my first piece of advice.
Yeah, absolutely. And DM, I know you have over 30 years in experience when it comes to marketing, and I'm wondering your thoughts on how to create a creative, effective, and inclusive marketing message that can reach the masses. What are your thoughts there, my friend?
Well, reaching the masses isn't what people really want to do. What they want to do is they want to reach the people that need their help. And so that's the first thing is mass marketing is kind of something that really died away with the internet. What we really look at now is specialized marketing. It's niche marketing. It's identifying who you can help, how you can help them, and what their pain points are so that you can be a part of their journey of discovery of how to fix the problem. Whether it's through your content, so going back to marketing, that's what we do. We do what we call authority podcasts. They're really FAQ based podcasts. And ultimately what ends up happening is we do, 5, 7, 10 questions in about a 20-minute podcast. And then we take that module and we put it out as a podcast. We break it up into shorter videos to answer questions. We break it up into, we put it as an audio podcast. We do all of these different stuff with it, which enables just a little bit of time, but a lot of authoritative positioning, a lot of knowledge to be multiplied out. So this isn't, hi, I'm Steve. I'm a lawyer. I'm a realtor. You should work with me because I'm a great guy. I've lived in the community now 27 years, and I really hope that you pick my office because we have blue carpeting. It's not that kind of marketing. It's the kind of marketing that goes, oh, you had a question about a divorce? Oh, you're a male and you want custody? Well, yeah, I do that all the time. Here's the top 10 questions that people ask me when they're going through this. Here's another podcast I have with one or two fathers in a situation like yours that I helped out. Here's a checklist that you can go through to make sure you have an order before, you hire your attorney for a situation like this. Do you see the difference in approach from the first one where it's like all about me and all about who I am in marketing versus the second approach is who are you and how can I help you?
Yeah, absolutely, DM. I'm a professional speaker, and it's all about creating a value proposition statement and solving problems of the market, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, my friend. And I'm curious to ask you about, simplifying messaging. And as you said, becoming in a position where you can market yourself as the authority of a subject. So what do you think are the keys to becoming an authority on a subject and marketing yourself as such? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
I think that the key for individuals in a situation like this is, first of all, I think if they look at who they've worked with, and most of the people we work with, they're not brand new law firms. If you're establishing authority, it's kind of hard to be like, hey, this person just got out of college, although there are ways that we can position it. But typically, the attorneys that we tend to work with, 10, 15, 20 years in practice. And so what I encourage them to do is I encourage them to look at their client base, look at the types of cases or, particular issues, the types of cases that they enjoyed working on, that they want more of, that they found that people with this type of issue or this type of case are people that typically are people that they like working with. So I encourage them to kind of look at the customer base. What do you want more of? If it's a certain archetype of an individual, I want more people in their 40s. Okay. Or is it a certain archetype of a particular issue? I want more people who are males that want custody. So that is how you kind of drill down and find your niche. find your authority positioning is by looking at where you've been, who you've worked with, and then deciding, listen, that is what I like. That is a profitable client that I enjoy working with, that I've helped quite a bit, that I can position myself myself in a way where I do help that type of individual. That's how you find that specialty.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know last year you launched a legal podcasting network to make a platform designed to help make podcasting more accessible and more genuine, my friend. So tell me about the process of launching the network and the mission behind it, my friend.
Sure. So the process was really, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been one since I was 14. I've been a media entrepreneur since I was in my early 20s. So, 25 plus years. And I've worked with attorneys on digital for over 20 years. So this was a natural progression for me. I had an agency with another individual for attorneys that was focused on SEO. We parted ways, and one of the ideas that I had come up with, and the previous year, just based on the feedback from attorneys that I talked to, was the podcast network. So I kind of had the general layout of how I wanted to do it. And then, December 1 of actually almost 2 years ago now is when I decided to kind of branch away from or we decided to kind of part ways. And then it was May 1st of 2024 that we actually launched the network. The mission behind it, what we're trying to do is there's two things. For the people who consume the content, we want to take what's happening in offices and behind desks in these attorneys or other professionals' offices and reflect that happening on the internet. A lot of professionals over the last 10 years have used this sort of statement to me. If I could just get them in my office, if I could just get them, sitting across from me, I'll get them as a client. But guess what? The pandemic did. The pandemic put us all where we're like, I'm not going anywhere. Why don't you just go on my phone for Zoom? Or, so people, over 80% of people are making the decision about their attorney or other knowledge professionals before they ever even call them. 82% of people solely use the internet to find their attorney. So knowing that, what we have to do is take what's happening, what makes these attorneys, makes these professionals different, which is what's going on in their head, what's, their experience, their expertise, and put some of that out into the community. So we're not going, look at me, I'm a great guy. We're going, what questions do you have? I'm going to answer them and show you I can help you. So the first mission we have is to help professionals educate the public on their differences. So that's kind of the mission that we have for the people consuming this content. But now for the people we work with, the second mission for the people we work with is we want to be better, faster, with less friction. So for me, my base package is 30 minutes a month on average of the client's time. We can build an entire month's worth of marketing, one podcast, 30 pieces of content, 2 to 3 pieces of website content, and we distribute all of it. Plus, next month, January of 2026, we are launching 2 streaming TV networks like Netflix for legal. One is going to be Lawyer Life. It's for the law firms and the lawyers themselves. And one is going to be Legal Answers, Legal Life and Legal Answers. And the Legal Answers is for the end consumer. And so we want a frictionless, easy, just like any professional would sit at their desk and talk to somebody about the situation that they're in, we want to recreate that so that when people walk in the door with these professionals or sit down with these professionals to hire them, they're not saying, well, how much are you? I've talked to 7 other attorneys and, this one was $2,500. This one was $7,000. Where's your rates at? And why isn't it $2,500 like that person? That's sort of like buying, get a deal mentality. Listen, if you're looking for a coupon for a lawyer, you probably shouldn't be looking for a lawyer, right? If you're looking to get a good deal on an attorney, you probably shouldn't be looking for an attorney. So, and that's kind of what we're trying to do is we're trying to elevate the authority of these knowledge workers because the internet up until now has commoditized their authority. Google has commoditized it, but now with the LLM models, it's going to basically be uplifting it because it's going to only be citing one or two people in the LLMs. So we're creating content that will show up in the Chat GPT sort of search models, and we're creating content that shows up in Google, and we're creating content for social media, and we're creating video content, and we're creating audio content. So we're just creating a whole ecosystem off of a 30-minute session of our client's time. So that's what we're obsessed with. We always want to get better. We always want to be faster, and we always want to do with less friction than we've been doing it. So it's easy for everybody involved.
Efficiency is the name of the game, isn't it?
Yes, and it's sad that it took me 10 minutes to tell you how important efficiency is to me.
No, man. As an old journalist, I never apologize for long-winded answers, okay?
Okay, I gotcha.
Absolutely. And tell me, I asked you earlier how we make attorneys better marketers, but I'm also wondering how we make them better podcasters, because attorneys are used to talking in legal jargon and within legal settings, but how do we make them more relatable and more marketable on a podcast, my friend? What are your thoughts there?
So understand, first of all, these are not like sit around, listen to the podcast, for a couple of hours while you're doing lawn work sort of podcasts. These are what we call authority podcasts, designed for specific times in people's lives. So they're not designed to get 50,000 views. They're designed as a local attorney that focuses on a very specific issue. If I get 50 listens, but 10 people call me and 7 people hire me, that's a very successful campaign. And the only people that are really listening to these podcasts, for the most part, are just people who have a need. Because you're not going to listen to, I'm not going to listen to how to get custody of your child podcast. I'm 47 years old. My children are grown. I am married. I'm trying to have a kid, but I have no intention of needing that anytime soon. So to me, I wouldn't go listen to that podcast, even though I'm in legal and I love legal. So what we try to do is we try to remind them that this is just like sitting across the desk from a potential client. This isn't being in court, although if you want to be a bigger personality and you want to pretend like you're speaking to the jury, we talk about legal jargon, but that's only when they're talking to other attorneys. When they're talking to their clients, or if they're litigators, if they're talking to a jury, they break it down, keep it simple, and all, again, we're doing is harnessing that particular skill set that they already have. They just need to learn to use it in the right medium to their benefit, in addition to what they're already doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also curious to see how you would complete the sentence. If I asked you to complete the sentence that marketing doesn't have to be a rocket science, how would you complete that sentence, my friend?
If you're willing to be yourself, that's it. Authenticity is the number one thing in marketing that moves, and people can feel it. Like if you're being who you are versus who you're putting on, people get that sense, that feeling. We probably all met people that were like, I wonder if that's how they talk at home. I wonder if they use that kind of, those words with their children or with their friends. Like, I feel like I've met a persona, not a person. Mm-hmm. And so what we really try to focus to help our attorneys on, and any client really, is just like, listen, marketing is about differentiation now. It's not about alerting people to your services for their needs. It's about differentiating yourself from your competitors when people have a need. And again, the old world thinking is, you need me, come on down. The new way of thinking, because of how the internet has changed marketing, and I say that because I started in paper. I spent almost 10 years selling paper products, maps, magnets, posters, different concepts and ideas that, I came up with or different people came up with. That was make 10,000 of these, throw them up on refrigerators and hope for the best. Now it's, okay, your marketing is not just going up with a logo and your phone number on a refrigerator. Your marketing is content. Your marketing is video. Your marketing is a podcast. Your marketing is a blog. What do all these things, your marketing is a website. Your marketing is traffic on certain keywords. All of these things indicate that the marketing has changed from what it was, which was spray and pray and hope. Now it's more about being precise, being in the right place at the right time, already established when people get there.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this because earlier this year, Morgan and Stanley released a study that said 77% of U.S. consumers believe that convenience is defined by comfort, speed, and accessibility, as well as availability, my friend, as the number one key factor to purchasing something or making an effective marketing campaign. So I'm wondering what immediate thoughts come to mind when you hear those statistics, and what do you think people really need to know about making effective marketing campaigns?
Well, again, I talked about less friction. So people expect what they want to be where they want it. So, like for us, the way that we kind of battle that is we don't just take our clients and put them on, the three big ones, which is Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, right? We're like, wait a minute, like, what if you have potential clients on Twitter? What if you have potential clients on Pinterest? What if now you might not have as many potential clients on Pinterest as you do on Facebook or LinkedIn, but if you start kind of spreading that out and reaching and being where people are, then it becomes a process of, yeah, I mean, everywhere I look, this attorney was here. They were answering my questions. They really helped me. I went on Twitter and I saw some stuff. I went here and I saw some different stuff. And that's the other thing. We try to like shuffle everything so it's not all the same post on 10 outlets every day. It's 10 different posts every day. And then we rotate those out with the 30 posts. So you have to make and so the good thing about video marketing and the good thing about podcasting through video and audio is that it is completely convenient and frictionless. You think about an audio podcast, right? Might be somebody right now. You're driving down the road listening to this. You couldn't watch your big screen TV. You couldn't, I mean, sure, you could listen to the radio, but it's very frictionless. If maybe some people, they're on a walk right now, going for their morning walk, listening to this. Why they'd want to listen to me on a morning walk is entirely on them, but they're on their morning walk, they're listening to us. It's very frictionless. And so as a business, why not put myself in the place where there is the least amount of resistance for people to engage and find me? So I completely agree with that statement. And I think so many people spend so much time focused on where they shouldn't be that they forget that there's reasons that they should be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Graham, I'm curious to get your thoughts on both a marketing and general perspective on how you think a personal development and team building are interconnected, my friend.
With marketing?
With marketing and in life, my friend. What are your thoughts,
Okay.
both in marketing and in life, my friend?
I'm big believers in both. I don't think, for example, one of the things I just started is I said, actually this week or last week, I told my team every week, I want you to take 5% of your week and I want you to learn something that is beneficial towards your position, even if it's a soft skill. And, show me the course you're taking, show me the book you're reading. And, that 2 hours is paid, but I want you to develop. So I know that, like I was thinking about this last night. If I'm not getting better, what am I getting? Right? And better is an unending pursuit. You have to you get better, and then you get better, and then you get better. And it could be in any way. It could be in your emotional intelligence. It could be in your skill set at work. It could be in your mind frame, whatever it is. We should always be seeking to get better. I've said this to my team, guys, if we get 10% better 10 weeks in a row, we're twice as good. So incremental growth, learning, team building, same thing. Now I have a challenge. I have a team of 50 some people, but we're all across the world. I'm on an island in Belize. My two sales guys, the two main sales guys, Randy's in Pennsylvania, Ben's in Dallas, Fort Worth. I have one or two more people in Fort Worth. I have people in Baltimore. I have people in Denver. So like having a team building is not the easiest thing, but we just did one the Wednesday before Thanksgiving last week. We just kind of got on, played some games together. So that's a little challenging for me, but what I try to do is I try to team build throughout the day.
Mhm.
So we had a Discord server, but we switched to a different one. But we do a lot of GIFs, or GIFs back and forth where we're, making jokes and celebrating wins in different departments. And, oh, so and so just got this promote. Like constantly, constantly, constantly. It's just a team atmosphere where people are, communicating, connecting, encouraging. So those things, especially like, again, being remote for my team, it is very easy to feel like you're on an island. Sorry, I couldn't resist the pun. So you can't help but feel like you're on an island sometimes when you're working remote alone, and the next person that close to you. I mean, I have 50 people on my team, and I'm trying to think how many I've seen face to face in my life. Two, maybe.
Well,
So
I tell you, that has to help with company morale. It's a less a chance for conflict, right?
yeah, I would say that's definitely true. I've had conflict in these but every time I've had conflict, it's been two people that knew each other outside of work. The one friend got the other friend hired, and then they stopped being friends, and then all of a sudden I got issues. So I try to do what I can to be careful about that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the friction is a fraction of what I've seen in a face to face workplace.
Absolutely. DM, I'm going to go off script here for just a second because I'm interested to ask you this question, my friend. So I'm coming to you this afternoon from Canada, my friend, and outside it's negative 14 degrees Celsius outside. So it's a perfect day for me to stay in and do a podcast. So tell me,
Yes.
what's the best part of living on an island in Belize, my friend? I'm so jealous.
I think the best part is my Friday night, um, just kind of standard thing to do, go down. There's a secret beach here, and there's like all these bars with like, not all, but 4 or 5 bars that have like tables in the water, and they bring you your drinks and your food while you're just chilling in the water, right? So, like, we'll do that. And like sometimes I'll say to my wife, I'll say, babe, this is our Friday. Some people save all year long to have this moment, and
Mhm.
it's just our Friday. So your baseline of life enjoyment does tend to go up. Like, we go out on a boat once, maybe twice a month, friend, whatever, we pay to go on a whatever thing. Like, I probably went on a boat once a year when I lived in Austin and Tulsa. And I know there's boat people, you live on lakes, you don't need to live on an island. But just, I think overall, and listen, I could give you the minuses, but the pluses, lots of sunshine. People tend to be a lot happier. Life moves a lot slower than like when I lived in Austin. And just things that are everyday activities for us that live here are highlight activities for the year for other people. So that's what I would say.
Well, DM, I wouldn't begrudge you if you wanted to send me a suitcase for me to get on a plane to join you, my friend. No, I'm only kidding. But so I'm also curious to ask you about people with disabilities and how they can become better marketers so that they can market themselves to live a fully inclusive life, my friend. Because, as you know, I was born with cerebral palsy, and at the age of 9, I was told that I would never walk for the duration of my life. But one motto that I live my life by is that inclusion is the gateway to independence. And I really believe that marketing is a great way for people with disabilities to share their stories. So tell me, how do you think we can use marketing to make people with disabilities more visible, my friend? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think ultimately, if society provides the tools that are usable for you, and I mean, it seems, from my interaction with people, and like we do things like, make sure our websites are handicapped accessible, and you click on a button and it can say the words and blow it up and all that stuff, and that's important. But I think that the responsibility lies not just on society as a whole to provide the opportunity, but I think that now that things are accessible, individuals like yourself and others like you need to be willing to step out, know that you're going to sound a little different, look a little different, but that you have a place in the conversation, you have a place in, society as a whole. And so I think that's what it's going to take is individuals like yourself and things like that to really just step out and say, you know what? You're going to hear what we have to say. You're going to hear our perspective. And like it or not, this is what it is. Now, let's narrow that down. That's how you can use marketing to your advantage. But now, if you want to use marketing to your advantage in a way that is financial, I think the message is the seasoning, and the product or whatever it is that you're offering has to be the core. I have seen people make who they are the product. Now, if you're a speaker, that's different, right? You just cut. But like as business owners, they make who they are the product instead of what they're offering. And so I would encourage if a person that deals with disabilities is a business owner with some sort of product in marketing, in consumer packaged goods, in media, whatever they have, that they understand first what their product is, and secondly how who they are amplifies it or at least clarifies it.
Yeah, absolutely. And DM, I'm also curious to ask you about this because you talked earlier about niche marketing, and as I mentioned to you, that I'm a speaker that speaks on the employability of folks with disabilities. And one thing I've learned through my speaking journey, my friend, is no matter how much knowledge I have on the subject, it's all about solving the pain points of the audience that I'm talking to. So talk to me about the importance of finding out sort of, the pain points in marketing and creating a value proposition that can not only make you money, but can also make you an authority on the subject. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I would say that there's two parts in the funnel. So, like for example, when I started everything, I sold my first roughly 100 clients. I wanted to get in. I had the product. I knew what we were delivering. I knew why we were delivering it. I didn't have to, but then I wanted to get in and have conversations and see what they would say and see what the pain points are and see why they would tell me no and and tweak my product. So, seeing ahead of time your audience's desires, needs, pain points can only be done through research. Pre-search is what I call it.
Mm-hmm.
But and so yeah, you can do the research and you can talk to people and you can ask them. But a much more effective way long term that I found is get in, do it, listen to the feedback, see the things that kept people from moving forward, and then change and tweak your messaging or your product based on that. For me, I call that an inoculating sales style. And what I tell my team is, listen, if in the beginning of in the explanation and beginning of the process, you're explaining and answering questions, you are a consultant. But if at the end, after you've made your presentation, they start presenting you with the questions and problems and things that they have doubts on, and you're answering questions then, now you're a salesperson. And people will buy from a consultant much quicker than they will a salesperson. So that's kind of how I look at it is if I can answer the questions and the issues based on historical knowledge, then I'm going to do it. If not, I've got to get in, do some research and talk to some people and really find out. And that's the good thing, especially like in a speaking way, to say, hey, I'm preparing for this. Here's 5 challenges that I see people like you have. Do 2 or 3 of those resonate with you? Oh, you know what? This one and this one, man, if you could cover that, that would really help us. Now you can hone your message, right? You could just come right in, hone the message based off exactly what they need. But it's come from a place of knowledge of saying, well, these are the 5 things that people normally have an issue with. Do 2 or 3 of these resonate, especially, for you? So that's another way that I would use being able to, get that answer for them or get to that place where you can help them.
Yeah, and I'm also curious to ask you about effective brand building and how marketing can help you build effective brands. So, what do you think is the recipe to market and ultimately create effective brands in business? What are your thoughts there?
So I'm kind of like believing that we're going into, at least for the vast majority of the businesses, I believe that we're going into more of a brandless age, or at least a decent percentage, because we're really getting towards founder led marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So while I think that building an effective brand is important, I mean, I've got my branding over my shoulder, right? But if you have a good leader who is marketing and making a splash in the marketplace, they're going to do way more for your company than a cool logo. No one walks down the street and goes, "Wow, that's a really cool logo. I need to go find that company and buy from them." On the other hand, when people respect and listen to a leader or, a founder of a company, when it comes time for them to purchase, it's almost like, man, I've been waiting to buy this product so I could buy from this person who I like and I've been following for years. Like, I like Gary Vee. Like, I've never bought anything from him. I might have bought a pair of sneakers back a while back when he was doing his K-Swiss collab thing that he did. But it was like, I'd love to be in a position to buy from one of his companies because I respect what he does. I respect his stand. I respect his style. And so I think it's that way with a lot of things. People are relating less to the people next door and more to the people on their TVs and on their phones and on their computers and on their laptops. We no longer know our neighbor's name, but we know five influencers' name and where they're from and their backstory. So understanding that, we need to understand that personal branding is much more important than business branding nowadays. Now, does that mean we don't have business branding? Absolutely not. But business branding, I mean, I think, and I don't know if we're using this on video or not, but business branding should be almost exactly what you're seeing from me. You see me to the front and the logo in the back. And that's what it should be. Most people, they try to hide behind the logo, right? They're just like tucking in behind the logo, like, oh, I'm LPN. And it's like, no, I'm DM. I'm a part of LPN. That's a totally different mindset and approach.
Absolutely. So I'm going to combine my next two questions because they're interconnected. And I'm curious to ask you, Dia, what does it mean to market with confidence? And how has confidence contributed to your overall legacy in marketing? And how do you want that to be defined, my friend?
So, how is marketing affected by confidence? That was the first part of the question, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it depends on what you mean by marketing. In founder-led marketing, in face marketing, in like what our lawyers do, what other businesses are going to be doing. I think that confidence, to an extent, is everything. Now, confidence in my legacy. I have always been that person that has had confidence from a small child. Even when I was going through things and I had some, a period in my life where life was definitely not ideal, I've always been confident. My question has always been like, here's the thing about confidence in society. Everybody wants people who are not confident to be confident. Everybody wants marginalized, and listen, I'm not saying marginalized people shouldn't be confident. But everybody wants people to be, just be confident, be out there, put yourself out there. But then when somebody comes out and is confident, what happens a lot of times? Don't be arrogant, don't be cocky. It's like, I mean, I just believe in myself. I just believe in what I'm doing. I just believe in this moment. I just believe. So I think that for me, confidence has been one of those things that I've struggled with because I actually contain it, but I'd like to think I'm not a cocky or arrogant individual, and I hope that enough people that spend time with me would say that. I know there's been times I've been told I kind of come off that way. I know how I am in my heart. I know my own doubts. I know my own fears. But I think that Confidence is a two-edged sword that in my legacy has won many hearts, but has also turned some people off to me. But at the end of the day, I would rather be myself and turn a few people off because I probably never would have gained those people in my life that came because of the confidence that I have. I hope that's a
Yeah,
decent answer.
yeah, absolutely, my friend. And finally, tell me, do you have a people want to get connected with the Legal Podcasting Network or yourself personally? What's the best way they can do that?
So I'm going to give you three ways. So thelegalpodcastnetwork.com. And so that's our main site. We're getting ready in January. We're looking at launching the Authority Podcast Network and the Expert Podcast Network, where we're going to be able to do turnkey outside of the legal industry. Expert is going to be more locally focused. So your local expert real estate agent, your local expert mortgage agent. And then Authority is going to be more nationally or internationally branded. So, I am a coach for restaurant owners that do 1 to 5 million a year, and this is who I work with. So that would be more of the Authority. So that's all going to be on there once it's launched. We'll say, visit our other sites, but the legalpodcastnetwork.com. My personal site is dmondemand.expert. And that's me as a podcast guest, me as a podcast host. I have a couple of shows coming out in January, and me as a podcast network founder. It's just kind of my personal brand website. And then LinkedIn. If you really want to connect with me as a business person, LinkedIn, I post, all the time. I'm on there. I have relationships with people from there. I built some great relationships, both for the business and in life. So if you're like, hey, this guy's kind of fun. He's kind of whatever. Let me connect with him on LinkedIn. Hit him up in in the inbox, and we'll see where life takes us. See if we click as friends.
Well, DM, I have to tell you, no one will ever accuse you of not bringing energy to a conversation, okay?
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for your hospitality, your genuine interest in our conversation this afternoon, and for all the great work that you do to help legal professionals become authority figures in their subject, my friend. I want to thank you for being here and for engaging in conversation with me this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me on.